Hello everyone, my name is Nathaniel Freeman and this is Freeman's Money, and today we're going to be talking about how I got into buying and selling stocks and just lay out kind of what my story was. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm not a financial advisor, don't take any of my advice without consulting with someone, but this is what I'm doing and this is how I got into it. So when I was in my 20s, still in college, I'd saved up a bit of money, and my mother and I've always wanted to get into stocks, and my mother was buying stocks. So it was something where I was just like, yeah, I want to get into it eventually, but I didn't even set up the account or anything. And my mother, she goes, hey, I really want you to buy this stock. And I'm like, okay. She's like, it's going to do really well. So I go to my bank, go TD branch, open up a tax-free savings stock investment account, throw some money, throw a few thousand in that account. I'm like, okay, mom, what do I have to buy? She tells me ACB. I'm like, what is it? She's like, it's a weed company. This is but when weed was still, it was about to get legalized. There was a lot of talk around it, lots of chatter. So we bought into ACB. And then like I bought it at like $2 and something cents. She bought it before me and she put a lot more money in. But so we would message every day. It's going up, it's going down, and we were having fun talking about it. There was one point where I sold because it had gone up, and then I was just hoping to go back down, but then it kept going up, so then I bought back in, and it was a whole thing. But goes up. We sell because we made enough money. We killed it, slayed it. We both did a great job making that money, and then it just hobbled and crashed. So we sold almost at the peak. We got really lucky with that. And I'm like, hey mom, you're excellent at this. I'll take a lot of my profits. Boom, pay off. I paid off my car. I paid off, like I did some things with the money, but I got a little bit extra. What should we buy next? Buy OYU. They look like a good company. I'm buying into them too. So then we buy into OYU, and that stock crashed. It failed miserably, went down. It crashed. It sucked. I'm like, okay. But I was hooked. I was like, we just made a ton of money. I want to make a ton of money again. So then I started looking at YouTube videos of like, hey, how do you make money in the stock market? And see, YouTube shows videos that were popular. So I'd click on one guy and I'd be like, okay, that seems interesting. I could do that. And then I would see that his video was from like 9 months ago. So I click on his profile and I look and he's like, oh, I'm quitting buying stocks in the stock market. I failed at day trading. This is how much money I lost. I'm like, what? All of that sounded so good. And now you're telling me this. So then I was just like, okay, YouTube, it's showing me popular answers, but all these guys are just, they're not, like, they weren't doing well overall. And then I saw a lot of them and I was like, okay, they're talking against the weed stocks. I'm like, we killed it on the weed stocks, so I don't know what you're talking about. So then I looked for books. Because something I learned along my path through life is that a lot of people read books and then interpret those results and then tell those to other people. If you really want to know the truth, just go read the book. Like, people are always going to tell their interpretations of it, what this meant to them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just go read the book yourself. You'll find the answers you want to know, and you won't have to deal with other people's interpretations, which could be incorrect, because let's face it, they're not as smart as the guy who wrote the original. And some cases, the original guy who wrote it is dead, so the only way to get that knowledge is a book. And one thing to consider with books is a lot of, like, when you're writing a book, you reread it, and then you edit it, and then you add in more information, and it's a real thought-provoking process. Well, with these videos, I'm the perfect example. I don't think about half the stuff I'm going to do before I sit down and just talk. I just like, all right, here's an idea. All right, we'll talk about this. I don't plan it. I don't edit it. I just sit down and talk, first take, post. Super simple, super easy. But yeah, so I started reading those books and I was like, okay, we were doing what this thing is called, and apparently a large portion of the people that fail are doing this. So pretty much we bought what's based off the glass or the castle in the sky theory. Well, you look at this company and you just hope that based around its potential, it's going to go up. Because it doesn't have any foundational reason why it should go up. You're just hoping that in the midst of what it is and based off what it is, no financials, no nothing to support it, that it'll shoot up. That's what my mother was doing with the two companies that we bought. One of them struck gold, the other one didn't. It's a real, you lose a lot more times than you do, and I got really lucky that I nailed it on the first try, and it was because of my mother saying, hey, buy this one. So I'm like, okay, that fails. So then this book had a bunch of statistics. It was actually a random walk down Wall Street. I should have brought the book up, but so I was reading that. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Then I got a book that talked about some of the stuff that it disagreed with. So then I read the points of that book. And then I kept reading books, but I read them so that, all right, this book says do boom, 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 index funds. This one says shorting. Okay. This one says buying individual stocks. So I competed the ideas against one another. And then I'm taking the merits of each one and I'm using that as my kind of formula to grow money, to gain wealth, blah, blah, blah. And I'm buying majority of blue chip stocks, and if I don't have a blue chip stock I want to buy, I buy an index fund. Simple as that. That's my investing portfolio style. I research the companies, I buy into them. And if I don't have a company that month, index fund. Simple, easy to remember. But yeah, so that's how I got started investing in the stock market. That's how I gained the knowledge I did, was by reading books and doing this. And yeah, but I got started thanks to my mother saying, hey, invest in this stock. And we both went in on it together. Anyways, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you guys learned something. If you like the video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you here next time.